Can the stream hear me? The stream can probably hear me. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 6th round of the Polyphony Digital Trophy, Season 1. And tonight we are at Deep Forest Raceway, again another Gran Turismo OG when it comes to the circuits. This one dating back to one of the older games. Of course, this one, like many of the other tracks we've had this season, have had a big reprofile in the terms of the appearance of the track. For example, the straights have been lengthened, both back and front straights, as well as some corners been given heavy braking zones and other ones been just made a little bit wider, so overtaking is more possible. But the championship, as always, we'll look at the championship at the very start of the round, and it is all Will Sutters at the moment. Will currently leading the standings ahead of, I believe, Jake Witchell now is second place after a really disappointing night for Jake Birkenhead last week. But with 2 rounds left to go, or 3 technically including this one, anything can still happen. It's all to play for both Jakes. And it's good to see Witchell back in the fight. All he needs is another good week tonight, and I'm sure he'll be very much up there. He's only got 1 set of mediums after not winning the race last week. He can get some good points regardless. So we'll just go on board with the Capitan for the first flying lap of the night. Go up over the crest, and then you want to brake just after the downhill section. There you go, at the curb, and then don't do what Chubbs did there, but you want to go for that apex on the inside, and then all over the curb on the exit. And then this one's really technical. It's a high-speed right-hander just after the left. Chuck it in, and then it's straight onto the brakes as you go into this next left-hander. And then all over the curve on the exit, and then again, just feathering the throttle through the corner there. And then back onto the throttle, using all the green stuff on the left-hand side there. Just dabbing the brakes on this downhill section, and then braking just over the bridge. Need to get the mid-corner speed perfect there, and then it's all about traction onto this back straight. The straight that isn't quite straight, up over the hill and through the tunnel and far away. But this, I mean, as long as the straight is, it's not the longest straight on the circuit. Back onto the braking, and then corner I very much hate. It's a really difficult hairpin that I'm sure the people on wheel will find a lot easier than controller in my experience. And then it's back down, another isn't really straight, but it is a straight. And then up the hill for what is technically the final corner. And the first lap of the night is definitely not going to be the fastest lap of the night. It is a 1:26.4. It's still quick, still very quick. In fact, it's quicker than Will Sutters, championship leader. So the pace is there, but I'm expecting quicker. Already Luke Clark goes fastest. What a lap from Luke Clark with a 1:25.8. That's kind of what we're expecting. The McLaren is very strong around here. It looked like the McLaren gave slipstream to Witchell and Kabinski behind them. So that's why all 3 of them got quite quick lap times. Kavinsky just 4.2 off. Thorejo now is the 3rd place sitter, 3.5 tenths off. So there's big gaps in qualifying at the moment. You would expect them to close, but at the moment your provisional pole sitter is Luke Clark. So good work from the Northerner. 2 weeks in a row now he's looked very strong in qualifying. And as you remember, last week he came very close to winning his first race of the season, but of course he missed out to Stijn van ter Hart. Check on Stijn van ter Hart. Where is he? He's P9. There he is. Stijn van ter Hart, now a race winner in this series. Not really having the start to qualifying he would want, obviously beating out the man who is currently on provisional pole. Another thing to comment, Stijn is going half second quicker, but another thing to comment is Will Sutters. Currently sitting P7. Again, he was around that area last week, not really shining in really any of the races, but as long as he is doing better than Jake Birkenhead, that's all he can ask for. But if you look at the standings on the left-hand side, Jake Birkenhead is currently P5, so maybe a return of form for the Honda driver. He does move himself up to 3rd place, so just as I was saying, return of form from the Honda driver up into the top 3 now. Stijn van ter Hart just set a 1:26.7 up to the top 8. But Jake Birkenhead really needs a good week to really revive those championship hopes. It's all he can do now Ruben Thorejo moves himself up into third. Luke Clark, he just pitted. I'm assuming, not sure why he's pitted there, maybe to get some clean air. But Luke Clark is back out into the clean air, not giving anyone slipstream as well. We've got a newcomer this week as well, Yannick de Kuiper. Another Yannick on the grid, this time it's a Dutch one, but de Kuiper obviously is our second Dutch driver on the grid. I believe the only other one is Van der Hart. So, expecting, I mean, if it's anything to go by how good Van der Hart is, then, you know, we might have another Stijn Van der Hart on the grid here. But Yannick de Kuiper, his first race in GTRC, and hoping it all goes well for him. Currently running P12, but looking for improvement. We just saw there Adam Hans with a penalty as well, 1 second penalty. So de Kuiper will not be held up by him at all. There's Adam. Yep, just leaving it in 6th gear. I'm sure he'll move off the racing line for that one. There he goes. We just saw another change. That was P5 or Sutters. So Sutters is up into the top 5. This is more the lap times he needs, but still not beating his main rival Birkenhead, and what could become his main rival after this round, Jake Witchell, running in P2. What stuff from him, really. I think that's all you can say about this one. He has really revived his hopes of the championship. This is the kind of drive that Birkenhead needs, but Witchell has really, I mean, he's missed a round, and he's really brought back every single hope he could have possibly had about winning this championship. And I've said for the past 2-3 rounds, he's within a stone's throw. Now I'd say he's within arm's reach. He's definitely there and thereabout, I think it's fair to say. He's got a very lovely special livery on tonight as well. Lovely grey and black. We see a little bit of fighting going on up ahead. Dominic Kubinski and Jake Birkenhead, are they fighting or are they pushing each other? I believe the two Honda drivers might be pushing each other. Don't see this tactic, especially from these two, too often. Imagine Birkenhead might want Kubinski to go through. Yeah, there you go. Dominic Kubinski now goes through. Also a race winner last week, so he will also have to use the 2 mediums. But what a win that was that Kubinski got last week. 3-way fight for the lead. Got a penalty on the final lap, and in the end he still managed to win the race of how much Van der Hart and Witchell were battling. That was a really good win from Kubinski last week. One that I'm sure he will still be hanging high on the laurels of. Braking now into turn 1. We'll just follow him for a lap. Got a really nice exit at turn 1, really nice apex as well. Van der Hart makes another improvement, but it's not quite into the top 10, top 7, sorry. We haven't used this camera before, and I'll tell you why we haven't used that camera, because it is laggy, so let's just not use that camera. We usually use the inside camera. Oh, sliding through that corner. That is not what you want to do, and that will cost his lap. Maybe even a penalty there if he's not careful. I'm sure he went very wide there. Yep, that is a penalty. So, if you want a lesson on how not to do your qualifying lap around this track, then that was Dominic Kubinski telling you how to do so. We'll watch Jake Birkenhead then for this one, the end of this lap and the next one. Jake Birkenhead, if you remember, he was the championship leader for the majority of the season. Jake was on form for the majority of the season, but all it took was 2 really poor rounds in a row at Blue Moon Bay and at Sardinia, and now he is trailing by so much that Jake Witchell looks like he's got a stronger chance. And Jake Witchell missed a round. So Birkenhead needs to bring his stuff together, but he is doing a very good job in this qualifying session. Top 4 at the moment. Really, that's not much more you can ask of him, because the McLaren is rapid. You'd expect Thorejo and Clark to be up there, so the McLaren is very fast. And also, Jake Witchell is on that impressive charge, as he has been for multiple rounds now. Now, it's all about just maximising what he can for Birkenhead. I feel like if Jake manages to finish this one in P4, I'm sure he will be very happy. But he is getting held up at the moment by the Polish driver, Kubinski. Up in front of him, there is a tiny bit of contact between the two of them. I'm sure this is not helping either of them, really. You'd imagine that Kubinski's best move would be to let Birkenhead through, but maybe Kubinski is going for a personal best, but whatever that personal best is, it's not really helping Birkenhead by the looks of it. We didn't get the split times just going over that split line. Would have been nice to have. Kubinski's probably thinking this is his last lap, because this is the last lap that they're all going to get. And who is the first man out on track? I believe it's whoever is ahead of Sutters. That is, Sophie is the first man out on track. Driver obviously didn't take part in last week because of a race ban. A driver at risk of losing his seat. We will try and get an interview with him today. He doesn't improve. Sutters, does he improve? Not quite. Birkenhead's off into the grass. We missed that. Can we just go back and see that? Ah, there you go. There just might have been some kind of coming together between him and Kabinski there, and both off on the track there. Looks like Hilo as well had some kind of incident with Luke Clark. So fair enough. And that's where we saw him on the grass just there. Now qualifying is over. Luke Clark is your pole sitter. Crosses the line. What a qualifying from Luke Clark as well. Pole at a track where really you'd expect that McLaren to do it, and what a job he has done. Nothing much better he could have done there, really. 3.8 gap to Jake Witchell behind. But Jake Witchell, what qualifying from him, splitting the two McLarens, the two fastest McLarens that have been racing this season. Obviously, he's got a two-time race winner behind him in that McLaren. And at what is really McLaren's playground tonight, that is an excellent result from the Nissan driver. Ruben Thorrejo as well, another fantastic result from him, coming off the back of a race win last week. And what we're talking about last week, what a week we had last week. 3 different race winners, 3 very different from the usual form. Yannick in the chat, predictions. I feel like Luke Clark is going to have a very strong race in this one. I would be very surprised if Luke Clark doesn't have a strong race in this one. So we'll just have to wait for that. But there you go, your top 2, or the front row, shall I say, Luke Clark and Jake Witchell. Luke Clark, only driver in the 25. So what a qualifying from the Northerner. Second row, speaking of Northerners, Jake Birkenhead. Really quality lap from Jake Birkenhead with 26 dead. That's all you can want from that, or from him tonight. Just off of Ruben Thorrejo. I'm sure he'd be kicking himself for that. But as everyone knows, Ruben Thorrejo is going to disappear off the line with that McLaren. 0 to 60. Third row, Will Sutters and Dominic Kabinski. Usual form for these two. You regularly see them around that area in qualifying. I've got to say, the gap between those two is pretty close. It's very, very close. Fourth row, got Che Easton and Sophie finishing out the top 8. And then the fifth row is Jolt Langstadler, Stein van der Hart. Sixth row, Adam Hans, Yannick Verpeten. And then the seventh row, should I say, sorry, not the fourth row. Seventh row, we had the newcomer, Yanni Tekopa, just behind his fellow Yannick. Obviously not from the same country, they're not countrymen, but the fellow Yannick is just behind each other. And then Joe Whedon in 14th. And then last place is the American healer with another one to forget, I'm pretty sure. I think it's fair to say one to forget. But we're yet to see stuff out of him. We saw some promising action from Healer, I think it's fair to say. He battled Will Sutters very well on his debut. And obviously got P10 on his debut. So more to come from Healer. Keep an eye on him. He's yet to have a really big standout performance, but there has been signs. But one uptick from, on form from Yannick Verpeten as well, might I add. Yannick Verpeten's not really regularly been ahead of a lot of the people that he's ahead of right now. So good stuff from him. I know he's been putting in a lot of effort for this round. So hard work pays off, I think it's fair to say. So, what are we waiting for? Nothing by the looks of it. We're not waiting for anything. We are going. It's about time. Again, apologies for getting the stream up quite later than usual, but here is your starting grid for tonight. We'll just turn all the race settings on. We go for the 5 red lights. Well, we wait for the 5 red lights. Full start check as always. Here we go. It's the 5 red lights. And they are out and we are away. And the 2 McLarens, as you'd expect, got a very nice start. There's a Milka McLaren in the background as well. I believe that is your Langsaddle. Again, a really, really good start. Down in P3, though, Will Sutters trying to make a move on Jake Witchell. Looks like Jake Birkenhead didn't get the best start possible. Oh, some kind of sliding going on in the background there. We'll just have a look at who that was. That I believe that was Jake Burke. Jake Burke got himself in some kind of incident already. That's not really the start he wants to the round where he could remount his championship charge, but it's only lap 1. He has everything to play for. Oh god, that was an incident and a half going on up in front of there. That could have been tears. If anyone saw that, that could have been tears. But leading the race now by quite a big margin, 1 second already, is Luke Clark, and we kind of expected this really. He is the man I predict to win this race, and reminder, if he does win this race, it will be the most different race winners in a single season of GTRC history. I believe we are at 8 or 9, somewhere around that number, if he wins this race. And that is a record that I'm sure this season deserves to break, really, because this season has been one of the most spectacular seasons of racing I've ever got to witness. Almost a move, yeah, there was a move there for Jod Langstadler. He's got the move done there, and Dominic Kabinski's already picked himself up a penalty. He's now under pressure from the McLaren driver of Joe Whedon. Just has to let that one go. He's picked up a 1 second penalty. I'm not sure what he's done there. I couldn't tell you immediately. The track limits are pretty questionable around this track, I think it's fair to say. In the background there, is that the newcomer Yannick de Kalper? I believe it is. Where is he? There he is, making the move on Adam Hans. Adam, breaking himself there by the looks of it, so de Kalper makes the move through. Not the best start as well for Yannick Verpayten. 2 Yannicks really not shining so far, I think it's fair to say, but de Kalper making his way up. Same with Verpayten. Now at the front, Luke Clark making a massive gap, really. It's really this middle sector where he loses the most, and the gap is larger than it was the last time round. Is Jake Witchell? No, Jake Witchell is on the soft tyres, so this is all to play for between these two. Sparring combatants, I think it's fair to say. These two know each other very well. They've raced each other many, many times in GTRC and outside of GTRC. And I'm sure these two will know each other's every single move when it comes to battling. So I'm hoping for a really spicy one between the two of them. But something that is really spicy is Will Sutters making his way up the grid. Ruben Thorejo just serves that penalty. It's side by side now with Will Sutters and Thorejo. Thorejo is going for that move back. He wants to keep that position. Sutters has to oblige. But here through goes Cats and Chubbs. Wow. He does get one move done, but Thorejo still stays out in third. Now it's all about, can the two Supra drivers work together to try and catch that McLaren? You know they are going to try and do that, but Chubbs goes into the wall. Chubbs is off into the wall, so there goes Will Sutters for P4 again. It's not quite close enough to get a move done on Thorejo, or is he? He goes for the dive bomb. Very late move from Sutters. Thorejo leaves the door open, so it's all fair there. What a move from Sutters. Oh, just wide on the exit though, but what a move from Sutters. Thorejo had nothing to defend against that. And that is really the best that Will could have done there. What an overtake. Really impressive stuff from him. Just on the limit of aggression as well. Speaking of aggression, in a bit of no man's land here is Joel Langstadler, currently P7. Gap behind, gap in front. Gap behind obviously is to the green machine. And behind the green machine, Jake Birkenhead is making his way back up the grid. So this is stuff that we want to see for a potential championship fight and for our former championship leader, the man who led the championship for the longest of anyone this season. This is what we want to see from him. Is he going to push his Honda teammate? I believe he is. Yeah, he's just staying behind his Honda teammate. Van der Hart, though, is he staying behind him? Yeah, Van der Hart had a look. Van der Hart knows he can stay there. Yannick Verpayten, whoa, what a move from the Belgian in the background there. Yannick Verpayten. Shall we have a quick look at that? Yannick just getting the slipstream now on the other Yannick, de Kalper, the battle of the Yannicks here, and just goes for the inside. De Kalper doesn't really have any defence against that. Yannick goes proper deep, though. Shoves him slightly wide, but you're allowed to do that. He did very good there. And now, look up front. That is, I believe, Jake Witchell was close. Yeah, Jake Witchell was closing on Luke Clark there. So this is a potential fight for the lead. And this is the section really where Jake Witchell closes the most. But look at the gap they've made to Will Sutters in third. Is Sutters on his medium tyres? No. So this is all on pure pace, these two. And this is what I was saying. These two are absolute monsters. And these two, I'm sure, will fight each other very aggressively, but very, very fair. which is catching in the slipstream, which is pretty impressive, I think it's fair to say. You have to get one hell of an exit in that car to catch the F1 GTR in the slipstream. But Luke Clark, obviously not threatened whatsoever into that braking zone. I believe he's actually gotten a better line through there, slightly better line than Jake Witchell. Just ignore that, please refuel. I'm not sure what that is. But yeah, we can't really expect the battle to get any closer on the straights like this. New fastest lap for Luke Clark at 1:26 dead, coming awfully close to his qualifying time there, only a couple tenths off. I mean, these two are on absolute form. But you have to watch out for the tyres of that McLaren. They're not the best, but Luke's doing a very good job to look after them, I think it's fair to say. Compared to other drivers on the grid, Luke is doing a stellar job to look after those tyres, and that's really all you can ask from him. Witchell is hounding him down. I imagine there might have been some kind of mistake from Clark, maybe, because Witchell isn't really astonishing on pace at the moment. Maybe he's just biding his time, waiting for the right opportunity. You know, he sometimes does that. I'm sure there's mind games going on between the two of them as well. Oh, braking late from Witchell there. Looks like he braked much later than the McLaren driver, but that worked out for him. He's now got a very nice run onto the back straight. Now, Jake Witchell all over the back of Luke Clark. Is he going to try and make the move here? I'm sure he can probably go for a Will Suss's dive bomb. He certainly feigns the move to the inside to let Luke Clark know that he is very much there. But not quite this time round, and it would have been quite a silly move to go for in hindsight. But the gap is still staying relatively the same between the two of them. Looking back now at P2, or P3 should I say, the battle of the Supras, I'd imagine there might be a move on here for Che Easton. Will Sutters, does he have what it takes to defend against it? Yeah, Sutters knows the move is coming. Sutters goes to the inside. Easton tucks in on the slipstream, but is it going to be enough? Not quite. Easton just not close enough to make this one stick. Oh, but there's a slight slide out of the exit for Sutters. Still not enough, though, for Easton to really get a gap anywhere, and he's going to have to be patient through these next couple of corners. These aren't really corners that are known for overtaking, it's fair to say. So patience is key, especially at this track. Patience is very much key. You want to wait until those long straights and really make your moves there, which is why the McLaren is as strong as it is around here. Jake Birkenhead's made his way up to P6, so he's having a very good recovery drive, is Jake Birkenhead. As is Dominic Kapinski, holding up the pack by the looks of it, all over the Dominic train on the medium tyres, so that would make sense. Stijn van 't Hart is using his one and only soft tyre set tonight, by the way, having to use double medium. I believe that rules are still a thing. Yeah, he's having to use double mediums. Having to use double mediums because he won last week. And that is a weird thing to say as well. Stijn van 't Hart, race winner. But let's look up at the top three, because again, battle's looking close between third and fourth. Will Sutters now is under a lot more pressure than he was last time round from Che Easton, and now Che is very much going to be looking for that overtake. Che tucks into the slipstream. Sutters defends the inside. He's left a gap on the inside, but Che's decided to go for the outside, and now Sutters is moving back out to the outside. Door rubbing there, all legal. Side by side through the first corner, and Sutters defends that very well. Great job from Will Sutters there. Really good defending from him. Textbook, should I say. And speaking of good defending, I mean, we saw the same from Captain Chubbs last week. Very good defending on the medium tyre, so maybe he's getting a bit of his own treatment this week. I'm sure Sutters will be loving to give back a little of what Captain Chubbs gave last week, because that was a nightmare for Sutters to sit behind Chubbs for as long as he did in that race. Someone who's under a bit of pressure now is Ruma Thurejo. Just under a tiny bit of pressure now from Jay Birkenhead, but we missed that. Captain Chubbs now side by side with Will Sutters. Sutters seems to have gotten a poor exit out of that corner. Now side by side for the two Toyota Supra drivers. I believe it's side by side in the background as well for Jake Birkenhead and through Thurejo. I think Birkenhead might have made that move there. Chubbs now just has to dip back behind Sutters. Sutters seems to have a run, but Chubbs is now going for that inside line once again for the overtake. Doesn't brake late enough. Or does he brake late enough? I believe he might have done. Will Sutters had to brake very late there to keep that position going, but he's still ahead, is Will Sutters. He's gotten a good enough exit on that corner. No penalty to be seen here either. now Sutters once again going defensive, leaving the gap on the inside for Easton, but Easton is wiser to that. Easton thinks the outside is the best place to go. But every single time Easton goes for that outside, Sutters is just going to shove him wide, really. That's all you can do. But Easton is a lot more alongside on this one. He's got more of a chance, but he can't make the move into that right-hander. That's never going to happen for him. It's not a smart overtake to go for whatsoever, and I guarantee you someone on this track has already gone for that kind of overtake. It's like a P7. Sophie's got some... Oh, my lord. Sophie's picked himself a penalty. I did see there was close fighting for P7. Sophie's picked himself a penalty and has currently got Van der Hart and Kavinsky sat behind him, the two Team Spirit sponsored drivers for this season. But they won't be sat behind him for long, because this Sophie penalty is going to help the both of them out massively, and I believe they both will probably pass him here. I believe the gap between Kavinsky and Van der Hart is close enough, but Jake Witchell, we did just miss that. We missed that. Jake Witchell has just made the move for the lead. So Jake Witchell now leads the race. Luke Clark is behind, but he is going for that move again. That's why we didn't look at the replay, because we know that Luke Clark is going to be going straight for that overtake. And there you see Luke Clark just going to the outside there. Interesting that so many drivers are opting for that outside line through turn one, especially for overtakes. But Jake Witchell covers that one off very nicely. And we do see in the background Kavinsky and Van der Hart both get past the penalty serving driver. Luke Clark's just gone through. We did miss that. Luke Clark has just gone through. So let's have a quick watch back of that one. Luke Clark, does he just... What did Witchell do? He just sends it up the inside of Witchell. Wow, fair enough then. So Luke Clark is now the race leader again. And one, I'm sure, hearing Witchell's strategy after talking, to him after the race last week, I don't really think that's one that Clark's going to be too upset about, or Witchell's going to be too upset about, because it means no more double mediums for Witchell. Witchell is taking what he calls the Will Sutter strategy, not winning any races, not winning any races, getting as many PTs as possible. But I say that, and he's just gone for the move there. But Clark covers that quite nicely, gets a really good exit around that outside line, and this is where the McLaren has the advantage. I don't see Witchell getting that move back anytime soon. The two Supras are fighting here, but I think in the background, if Chubbs isn't careful, that might have been a penalty for him. He's gotten away with it. So Easton's gotten away with it. But this fighting is bringing Birkenhead back into the fight. And Birkenhead needs to get involved with this fight. His championship rival is currently P3. So he needs to really send it. That's all he needs to do. He just really needs to send it. Chubbs, meanwhile, needs to stop battling with his Supra teammate, because it's slowing the both of them up. But Birkenhead has pace at this stage in the race. And it's been a while since I've said that, to be fair. It's been a couple of rounds since I've said that Birkenhead has a lot of pace at this stage. But he does. He's very quick at this stage of the race. And this could be maybe a podium on for him. Saying that, it just looks like Sutters and Chubbs have picked up the pace a little bit. They've pulled up their skirts and they're now sprinting. So maybe the fight isn't on for him as much as I thought. We mentioned Langstadler being a bit in no man's land earlier. Now the next man in no man's land is Rupert Ferrejo. Got a big gap to the three cars behind him. Kavinsky obviously leading those three cars on the medium tyres. And then Stein Van der Hart on his one and only set of soft tyres. Sophie also on soft tyres, but he gets two of them this week. Van der Hart is defending against the Honda driver. Van der Hart defends that position very well, actually. But not well enough, because Sophie does get a good run on the exit. It's all about who's going to get the slipstream here. Van der Hart just edges ahead of Sophie. Sophie again trying to look for that move, but Van der Hart goes to the inside line. Van der Hart clearly believes the move is under threat. Kavinsky also goes to the inside line, interestingly, I think giving slipstream to Van der Hart, but maybe he wasn't supposed to slow down that much. Ooh, contact there between Sophie and Van der Hart. That looked a bit scruffy. This is an age-old story with this league. You've got one driver on the slower tyres, two people behind him on the faster tyres, and they're trying to battle, and the slower tyre guy is getting in the way. Sophie now. Ooh, he could have sized up a move there. Good that he didn't, because that move would never have worked for him in reality. But, you know, as I was saying a couple of laps ago, patience is key around here. And I'm sure most of the drivers on this grid know that patience is key. Really poor exit from the Dutchman there. And now he does have to start looking in his rearview mirror and worrying. But again, his fellow Team Spirit sponsored car is giving him slipstream. There you go, yeah, giving him slipstream already. So Kavinsky doing his best to help out Van der Hart here. Not helping his Honda teammate. Oh, Kavinsky very slow through the exit there. I believe he was trying to give that position to Van der Hart, and now, oh, Sophie spun Kavinsky out. But he's given the position back. There you go. Good sportsmanship from Sophie there, waiting for the position for Kavinsky, but this is not what Kavinsky needed, really. Luckily, it's only on one of his medium tyre races. If he was on his soft tyres, I'm sure he would be gutted right now. Battling up ahead for P3, and they'll just caught that there. A little bit of door tapping action, but we are on the final lap now. Che Easton just gets ahead of Will Sutters, and Jake Birkenhead is very much back into this fight now. Birkenhead just needs to get a little bit closer if he has a chance of getting maybe even a top 3. Still is on at this point. Realistically, it's a top 4, but Che Easton could be on for another podium this season, and what a podium this is. Fought hard with Will Sutters for the entire race. We'll see, is Sutters not under any threat from Birkenhead. So this is all Che Easton. Is Sutters going to go for the dive bomb? Not quite. We're going to go to the lead, because for the first time this season, Luke Clark wins the race, and records have been broken. The most amount of race winners in a single season, Luke Clark sets that record. And what season it has been. Well done, Luke Clark, for what an amazing race win that is too. Ahead of Jake Witchell. Not an easy guy to beat. Captain Chubbs rounds out the top 3. And then it's Will Sutters under no threat from Jake Birkenhead. Ruben Thorejo pushing P6 of Birkenhead, keeps that P5, but that P5 is all you could have asked for from Birkenhead. Stein Van der Hart gets away with a P7 after some really scruffy fighting, I think it's fair to say, between him and Kavinsky and Sophie, but it all ends well for him. Adam Hansen, his return, P8. Joe Wheaton, P9. Didn't see much from him. Joel Langstadler, really disappointing one from him, but it's P10. And then it's Kavinsky 11th, Sophie 12th, De Kuiper in 13th, and then for Peyton, really disappointing one from Verpeyton. He had a lot of pace. I still think he can do well for the rest of the night, as he is on the medium tyres for this race. Keep an eye out for him. And then Healer finishes last. But what a race we were just treated to. That was a really exciting one. Good stuff from Northerner. And there you go, pole position and clean race bonus. So speaking of Northerner, shall we invite Mr. Clark to the party? I feel like we should. Question is he going to join the party? I hope he does. Where is... Let's see, will Luke Clark join the party for an interview? Because that was a good race from him. Lots of pace in qualifying, lots of pace in the race. See, pole position, clean race bonus. Not the fastest lap, but what more can you ask for, really? Led every single lap, almost a Grand Slam. Very much almost a Grand Slam. If we don't get him in, then it's not the end of the world. very, very much an off-chance call, me trying to get Luke in, because to be honest, I don't really think Luke would do this kind of interview thing. But you never know. But in the meantime, here are your race finishers. Oh, Luke Clark did get the fastest lap. My bad. My bad. So that was, I believe that was a Grand Slam for Luke Clark. And, you know, what a way to win your first race of the season, winning it in fashion. Luke Clark wins tonight for the first round of the night. Jake Witchell did everything he had to do to really maximise the points he can get tonight with a P2, and I'm sure he is helping very much his good friend, or he's very much happy about his good friend helping him in P3. Che Easton putting a gap between himself and the title leader at the moment. Will Sutters finishing 4th. Points are on offer now for Jake Witchell to really climb that gap between himself and Sutters. Jake Birkenhead, very good recovery drive, obviously down the grid by quite a couple positions at the start of the race after some kind of turn 1 incident, but Birkenhead moves himself back up to P5, and that is really the most he could have asked for. Maybe a tiny bit more pace, he could have gone for that P3, but nothing to criticise there for Birkenhead's race. Solid stuff from him. Solid stuff again from two-time race winner Ruben Thorejo, P6, although not really the stuff you would have wanted following his qualifying position. Someone that did do well following his qualifying position is Stijn van der Hart, P7. And then a quiet race from Adam Hans. Didn't really see much from him. I'm sure he had a good race though, it's just I missed it on stream. P9 for Joe Whedon. Again, another quiet race. Didn't really look back there too often, I'm going to be completely honest. But Joe Whedon just doing all he has to do. He's got a strong car for the track, and he'll be starting on the front row alongside Jolt Langstadler. Langstadler starting on pole for the next race. And those starting outside of the reverse grid order is Kavinsky, who got himself involved in that collision with Sophie. We did catch that one on stream. Sophie P12 and Yannick de Koper on his debut tonight with a P13, and he's beaten two drivers who've been here for a while now. Yannick Verpeyten, obviously not really what Verpeyten would have wanted, but Verpeyten was on those medium tyres, so you can expect more for the rest of the night from him. He's got good pace around here, has Yannick. And then Healer just behind Verpeyten. Yeah, we were treated to a good race there, I feel. And as I said at the very end of that race, records have been broken. We've just had the most amount of different race winners in a single season. I believe it's either 8 or 9. I really should know this. But, yeah. There's already stuff. There's already stuff going on in the Discord. That's hilarious. But, yeah. So that stuff that we saw from Kavinsky and Sophie, it very much looked like that just poor driving, really. But you've got to give it to Sophie. He showed good sportsmanship and he gave the position back. It's just that incident shouldn't have happened in the first place. And I've said this so many times on the stewards' reports. I very much appreciate that Sophie has gotten better at giving back the positions that he takes illegally, but it shouldn't happen so frequently in the first place, because you don't see any other driver on the grid get themselves involved in so many stupid collisions, you know. And, you know, he'll blame everyone that isn't himself for that. And that's what he's doing. He's currently blaming Kavinsky for him spinning Kavinsky out. And, I mean, I've only been racing for 5 years, so I'm not really a genius, but I can tell you that if you spin someone out, 9 times out of 10 it's your fault. And it was on the exit of a corner, so I just don't really see his argument there. But, you know, I gave him credit at the moment, I'll give him credit now, he gave the position back, but this just needs to stop happening. Rant over. That's the stewards rant over, but it just needs to stop happening. That's all it is. Shall we watch Yannick Verpeyten do his practice laps? Special livery for Verpeyten tonight, by the way. We didn't talk about this. A couple of drivers have special liveries tonight, and Verpeyten is one of them. And that is a classic, is Yannick using, by the way. That is an absolute classic. Gorgeous livery. The Marlboro-inspired car. I'm sure that's inspired by the Marlboro F1 cars, if you think about it. They were Honda-powered for a long time, the Marlboro McLaren F1 cars. So I'm sure that's where he got his inspiration. And it's a gorgeous looking car indeed. There we go. So for the first reverse grid of the night, this time a standing start reverse grid. And we've got the two McLarens out in the lead and Adam Hans in third. Similar to what we saw in the first race with two McLarens and a Nissan, 5 red lights, and we are away. Good start from Adam, all things considered. Very good start from Adam. You will never expect the acceleration of that car to really compete against McLaren, but it seems like Langstadler got a very slow start there. Langstadler still going for that move though. Wow, okay. Dives for the inside, makes a very good overtake indeed, and he goes back for that lead. So good work from Langstadler. Nothing really wrong to say there. Very close through there. That's really a one-way corner, but no one has crashed there, so that is good work from all the drivers. But Langstadler in another special livery. It's the Milka-inspired car. Milka, by the way, is the best chocolate that isn't Cadbury's. and that is a scientifically proven fact. But Langstadler already making a big gap, as we saw Luke Clark did in the first race, and Adam Hans is going for the move. He's not hanging around. Hans can't quite make it stick. Someone who can make it stick though is around the outside for Will Sutters, I believe that was. Yep, around the outside. Made it stick very nicely around Ruben Thorejao, but still haven't made the move around Ruben Thorejao. He's got competition once again with the Capitan. And in the background we just see Steinmetz Hart serve a penalty, but here comes Jake Witchell with a very deep move there, and what a move that was. He's gotten the position on Will Sutters. It's a really good move from him. Joe Whedon just hit the wall there as well. Now I'm gonna turn off the music, just give me a moment. So if I miss something, I'm very sorry. I'm currently not on the music screen. Here we go. Yeah, Jake Witchell, there you go. Down the inside of Ruben Thorejao, so we didn't quite miss that one, so that was good. Chubbs as well was moving his way up the field. Adam Hans, still P3, all credit to him. Ooh, sliding action from Kubinski. Kubinski's had a very good start. Kubinski's had a very good start indeed, starting P11 up into P7. Imagine he is on his soft tyres now, maybe. Nope, he's on his mediums. So that is just very clever driving from Kubinski there. Very good driving indeed. But Hans now under threat from his Nissan GTR teammate, Skyline Brothers. The two sole Skylines on the grid tonight. I'm sure Hans will not make this too difficult for the reigning GTRC champion and champion to beat, potentially. It's not out of reach for him anymore. And here comes Witchell down the inside. Textbook overtake from him, and I told you Hans would not make that one difficult, and through goes the Nissan driver. Witchell on his second and last set of softs, bear in mind. What is Sutters on? Sutters is also on his second and last set of softs. So again, still all to play for. But Sutters is under threat from Kubinski on the medium tyres. What pace has Kubinski managed to pull out of his arse? Wow. Really, really sending it, and down Kubinski goes the inside, but not deep enough. Will Sutters holds that position. But great pace from the Honda driver. Thorejao is also on the mediums, up ahead of the two of them, but we'll just catch back up with Jake Witchell. So he's going purple. It's a story of him and Captain Chubbs at the moment. Chubbs is the man in the hot seat at the moment to really got the best chance of catching Sol Langstadler, and I say this every single time, but someone who hasn't won a race yet, who I feel like could win a race. But Langstadler and Chubbs, come on guys, let's make that record an even larger milestone, shall we? Let's extend the goalpost. That's the phrase. Let's extend the goalpost. Let's have even more different winners this season. This has been such an interesting season. Chubbs not quite close enough to Langstadler, and you can't imagine he'll make that move anytime soon now because they're coming onto the main straight. Chubbs is in prime position though, and Thorejao has lost the position in the background to Sutters and Kubinski, so Kubinski's up into the top 6, starting P11 on the medium tyres, might I add. Just goat shit. And here comes Jake Witchell. Witchell's not hanging around anymore, he's not waiting for Che Easton. And Easton's not making this one difficult. Easton knows he should just focus on his own race. Through goes Witchell, up into P2 for the championship contender. He is well and truly in this one now. It's catching Joel Langstadler now. Doing everything he can. Langstadler obviously doesn't quite have the pace in that middle sector. You can't expect any McLaren driver to have a huge amount of pace there. Might be worth noting, Adam Hans is still very much there and thereabout. Good race so far from the other Nissan driver on the grid. This isn't really Nissan's track, so for two drivers to be doing as well as they are so far this race, good stuff for the Nissan GTR Works team. Who is that in last place? It's Healer. Healer might have got himself in some kind of incident. Same with De Kalper. De Kalper's got a penalty. His fellow Dutchman up ahead, Stijn van der Hart, just pushing But Peyton all the way, the other Yannick. For Peyton, too far ahead for Van der Hart to make any kind of position. Joe, P11, and then the top 10 is rounded out by Sophie, who is using his medium tyres in this race. Here is Jake Witchell, we just saw in the background there. Jake Witchell under threat from Jake Easton. So maybe Witchell doesn't quite have the pace to compete against Langstadler. We know that McLaren is quick around here. And Langstadler is really, I mean, he's lifted the anchors by the looks of it. He is flying. You know, to have Witchell already looking and defending at Jake Easton, this could be all Jolt Langstadler this race. I've said that so many times this season, ever since the first round, but maybe this time it will come true. Please, super please, let it come true. Oh, round in the background, Adam Hands. Adam Hands round in the background. Let's look at the replay of that one. Oh, just slides there. Not sure, it might have caught the grass there or something. That's really unfortunate. And there, he's gone back down to P14. Just as I was saying, Adam Hands having a spectacular race, all falling apart for him, and what a shame that is. What an absolute shame that is. I'm really disappointed about that. Obviously race winner this season as well, Adam Hands. He won at Grand Valley, hasn't really shone since then, but in the background, Captain Chubbs, go on, get yourself a penalty, mate. I saw you go wide. There it is. No getting away from that one. There is the penalty for Che Easton, so now it is a two-horse race for the lead. Or it will be once Che serves that penalty. Kavinsky is into the top 5 now, from a benefit of Adam spinning round. Kavinsky, what the hell have you done? On the medium tyres as well. Wow. It's just different level of quick tonight. I wasn't expecting that from any medium tyre run, even if it's the Honda. It's impressive stuff. Langstadler is still leading this race out though. He does lose, he's just lost again through this middle sector. You see him lose every time going through this middle sector, but Jake Witchell has never really had enough on the straights to catch Langstadler. And this is really what Witchell was struggling against with Luke Clark. And this is what Luke Clark actually, you know, Luke Clark managed to beat Witchell because of this. Just that advantage in the straights. And I mean, Clark was very quick in the corners as well. Let's not hide that fact. Clark is a very talented driver. Langstadler is also the same, I'd say, is the same talented driver, but Langstadler's never once won a GTRC race. And Chubbs, what have you done? 1.5 second penalty. There he goes, serves it. Through goes Will Sutters, championship leader. And now it's a story of can Chubbs overtake Sutters for the podium again. Sutters on those soft tyres. Chubbs, I believe, is also on those soft tyres, so all to play for. That's also all to play for. It's up in the top 2 now. We've got Jake Witchell really gaining on the race leader. Tucking into the slipstream. New fastest lap of the race, 26.3. But not close enough to make the move that time round. Jake's running out of laps to do it. And to be honest, I really hope he does run out of laps to do it, because if he does run out, we've got another new race winner this season in the form of the Hungarian Jolt Langstadler, and a first-time race winner in GTRC. That would be, and what a special win that would be as well. One that's been a long time coming. Obviously, Langstadler been racing in GTRC for about 1.5 years now. Never won a race, but very famously, myself and Sick Individuals, fellow commentator over the WTCC, we both agreed that Langstadler is really the best driver to have never won a race in GTRC. And I still think that reputation very much holds true. He is the best driver in this league that has just never gotten that race-winning chance. And I feel like he's picked the wrong car this season to win races consistently, but this round is his best chance. This is all McLaren tonight. And he is in the prime position, but Witchell is all over the back of him. Witchell, I'm sure, is going to be patient. He is just waiting for the prime opportunity, because he knows if he gets Langstadler through that corner, Langstadler will just speed past him on the next straight. There's no point even trying for it here. He needs to find a position where he can get ahead of Langstadler and stay ahead of Langstadler. Now that Milka McLaren leads the race on for the 8th lap now. We're going on to lap 8 of 12. Running out of laps here, Jake Witchell. But look at that gap that he pulls even against a car in the slipstream. A bit wide there from Langstadler though. It's not what Langstadler should be doing. But again, just leads through these corners, and these corners are difficult enough to get an overtake done. So I you know, it's going to be difficult. That's all you can say about it. It's going to be difficult. Which, by the looks of it, is just sat behind him, just being patient. We saw very similar in multiple other races, starting from last week, you know, which is very apprehensive to take these race wins at the moment. He's seen how his championship rival has gained so many points on him this season, and that's by not winning and not taking those extra medium tyres. So I very much appreciate the strategy that Which was using, to be honest. It shows smart racing. That's what you want to see, smart racing. Smart racing from smart drivers, but for the most part, nothing's really going on at the moment. The two closest cars on track are the top two, and the top two are not fighting at all for reasons that I just explained. But they have to start looking behind them because Will Sutters is catching. And I feel like Will Sutters will be a bit less kind to Scholt Langstadler. So Langstadler either picks the pace up or Witchell bites the bullet and takes the position, but either one, you know, one of these is going to happen, or they will both lose the chance for the race win, and it will be Will Sutters. Witchell still just sat behind him, and they still are the two closest cars on track. You do see in the minimap up there is some fighting going on, but nothing as close as these two. But Witchell, I mean, this is showcasing how you can follow a car closely and not punt him off after every single corner. You know, there are some drivers here that very much struggle not hitting drivers every single corner, but this is just very much showcasing that. I mean, you'd expect it from Jake Witchell, but Scholt Langstadler's never won a race, and he is perfectly capable of not driving like an idiot, so that's all you can say, really. Again, tucking into the slipstream is Jake Witchell. It's like watching golf, this, though, isn't it? He's just really not going for anything. He tucks to the inside and then again thinks better of it. We know your game, Jake. We know your game. Oh, but he's got a really good exit on Langstadler there. But still, the acceleration of the McLaren, that one was just McLaren acceleration. Sutters is also not really making a big impression on the top two. In fact, I'd say someone who is making a big impression is Che Easton. New fastest lap of the race. I told you he was making a big impression. I just got a psychic ability, you know, I can sense good driving, I can sense good drivers. But Che Easton, new fastest lap of the race, and he is absolutely flying. He's going for Will Sutters right now. He wants that P3 again. Can he do what he did in the last race and take the P3 at the very end of the race, at the break? You know, Easton's not going to have many chances now. There's only 3 laps left, including this one. But once Easton gets into that slipstream range, I'm sure the chances will come thick and fast. Of course. Yeah, the chances will come thick and fast for Captain Chubbs there if he gets into the slipstream, and I believe he's very close to doing so. There you go, Chubbs is in the slipstream. Sutters, you need to start looking in your rearview mirrors, mate, because here comes your Toyota Supra teammate. Still no more battling up front. I mean, let's have a look at the back, because there is stuff going on. Yannick de Kuiper, Adam Hans, and Stijn de Haar, and there's also Yannick Verpeten involved in this battle. So is Joe 90. Wow, what battle's going on here? From 10th all the way down to 14th. 4 5-way battle, should I say. Adam Hans really is out of position there, though, isn't he? But here comes Captain Chubbs on Will Sutters. Not quite. Not quite close enough this time round, but he will have plenty of chances over the next 2 laps. Apologies. And now going through this very technical middle section, and Sutters has picked the pace up. It's a new purple sector, but we did miss that. Captain Chubbs into the 125s. Wow. It's only the second time we've seen a different driver in the 125s, I believe. The only other driver we've seen in the 125s is Luke Clark. So, I mean, as I've mentioned pretty much every single round, former teammates, those two, and it's got nothing to do with this, but what a lap from Captain Chubbs in the Supra as well. I'm sure Slipstream would have been involved, but, you know, credit where credit's due and all that. Speaking of credit where credit's due, Langshadler still leading this race with Witchell just behind him. That's a lot of pressure to have Jake Witchell behind you for this long, and he's not cracked under any of that pressure. In fact, his tyres are better than Witchell's at this stage of the race, which is unheard of for a McLaren driver. But we are going on to the final lap, and this could be a potential second-time first race winner for the night. A new race winner of the series, a new race winner of GTRC history. Charles Langshadler leads out through turn 1, and unless Witchell is here to crush dreams like he did in the first round to Langshadler, I feel like Witchell is perfectly happy with that P2, and it's strategic driving. All I can say is strategic driving. It's not against the rules, and I feel like he's doing a very good job here. Langshadler, though, no credit taken away from him. He has got the pace this race. He's really got the pace. He's kept up with the big boys. Big boys have caught up to him, though, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Langshadler leads now into the strongest section of track for the McLaren, and this is where we know he's going to be safe. All he's got to do is get a big gap out of this upcoming hairpin, but we know in the background there is Will Sutters. He has closed up heavy. Looks like he's made a gap between himself and Che Easton. And now what is Witchell doing? Witchell, I believe, is pushing him down this straight. Is Witchell going to go for the inside line? Witchell looks to the inside, but Langshadler brakes late. Langshadler brakes late, and he still keeps the position. Ooh, almost off the track there. Don't do that, Scholl. Here comes the Hungarian just leading out the pack. Is it going to be a first-time race winner, GTRC? Is it going to be a 9th or 8th or whatever it is, different winner in this season? There goes Zsolt Langshadler, very happy with that win, and a long time coming that win has been. A long time happening, or a long time coming for Zsolt Langshadler. Seasons now, years in fact, it's been over a year, and we've all been saying the same thing, all been echoing, when is Zsolt Langshadler going to win that first race? And we just witnessed it here in the Milka McLaren at Deep Forest, but how close was that top 4? Under a second between the 4 of them. What great racing from all of them. Really showcasing championship work. You know, I think any of the 3 that were chasing Zsolt Langshadler really could deserve to win a championship at some point in the future. But the man who did win tonight is the Hungarian that we see on our screen right now. Pole position and clean race bonus. What a drive from Langshadler. I'm really happy for him. That is a win, long time coming. And I know that if Witcher was really trying to take that win, he probably would have done. But that doesn't take away from the fact that Langshadler did everything he could have done right. No mistakes, as fast as anything. And second win of the night for McLaren. And third different winner for McLaren this season. McLaren has now doubled their win total this season. And they've got 3 different race winners. Yannick, mate, what happened? Well, Yannick finishing P13. He's not too happy about that one. There you go. There is your finishing results. So Langshadler or Witchell followed by Langshadler, and then it is Sutters and Chubbs. Great race from Kabinski there, from what I saw on the medium tyres. Really impressive pace from him. Luke Clark, race winner in the last race before this one. P6, good race from him. Really, he can't have expected much more from that. Top 6 is nothing to be ashamed of. I'm turning my Spotify down because I can't fucking hear myself think. Runa Thorejo in the other McLaren, P7. Jake Birkenhead, P8. Maybe he could have wanted a bit more from this one. I feel like Birkenhead's out of this championship now. And as sad as that is to say, you know, the guy that led the championship for the longest this season, I don't think he's really in it anymore. And I'm gutted for that, to be honest. I wanted Birkenhead to win this season, so there you go. There's my bias out there in the open. I was very biased towards Birkenhead earlier on in this season, so I'm disappointed for that one. P9 is Sophie, and P10 is another McLaren, shocker. So we'll have a McLaren starting first in every single race tonight, and this time it's Joe 90. Outside of the top 10 reverse grid is Adam Hans. What a disappointing one from him. Obviously, no fault of his own by the looks of it, but Adam Hans starts P11. And then it'll be Venter Hart 12th, Yannick Verpayten in 13th, and then Yannick De Carper in 14th. And we did lose Healer at the end there, or partway through that race, we did lose Healer. So those are your top 14 this time around. But yeah, I mean, the circumstances definitely weren't perfect for Langshadler. There's no hiding that fact. But I'm very happy for him, regardless. Nonetheless, very happy for him to have won that race. You know, there's not really much more that he could have wanted. Race win's a race win. You know, race win is a race win. And I would do an interview, but I am really losing my voice at the moment, so I'm just going to have a quick break. So just give me a break, and we'll be back in a moment. Excuse me, sorry, I just needed to have a drink there. I'm, losing my voice. I didn't get much sleep last night, or fairness either, so yeah. We just saw Super very happy in the stream chat there. I mean, that win was a long time coming for Langshadler there, and I'm super happy for him. You know, not to play on words, super happy for him. For a long, long time, he has been deserving of that race win. For multiple seasons of GTRC, he's been deserving of that race win, and now he's finally got it. Just great stuff from him. So now he is no longer the best driver to have won, or never won a race. So I'm going to have to get sick in the commentary for one of these races and ask him who was the new best driver to have not won a race. Because there's not many drivers left on this grid that have not won a race. I mean, look at it. Who hasn't won a race yet? Joe hasn't won one, but Peyton hasn't won one. DeKalb hasn't won, but this is his first ever round, so how is DeKalb going to win one? And Sophie hasn't won one. Everyone else on this grid has won a race now, which is it's mental to say. It's really mental to say. We haven't had this many, and they've all won a race this season, bear in mind. No, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh no, Chubbs hasn't. Chubbs is the best driver to have not won a race this season. There you go. We'll go with that. We'll go with that. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We've had 10 different race winners, counting Rick Debris. So we've had 10 different race winners this season. Wow. I mean, there's only 15 cars on a grid. How have we had 10 different race winners? That is, that's pretty impressive. I feel like everyone this season should be very happy with themselves. It's been a very good season, and we've still got 2 more rounds to go after this one. So, if you do enjoy the action, then subscribe to the channel, because we do this every week. And, I mean, if you've been watching this round and any of the rounds before this is incredible. Yannick Pro, you are going to win one. It will come. Trust me, it will come. Everyone wins one at some point. Sometimes you do have to wait a long time. I mean, you just saw Super, as I was saying on stream, he had to wait 1.5 years to win his first race, but he's done it, He's done it now, and I know the circumstances were not perfect. I'm not stupid. I know that Witchell didn't take that race win, but why should he, It's not against any rules, so why should he? And I don't think that changes any part of the fact that Langshadler's been one of the most deserving drivers to win a race for a long, long time now. And that's a thought that's been echoed by many people. So, I just think that was, nothing can overshadow the fact that Langshadler's now a race winner. And you will be too at some point for Peyton. Yannick, you will be, mate, you will be. Everyone does win their race at some point. But seeing as we're at 10 different race winners this season, who's the 11th? Who's the 11th? It's going to be Chubbs. It's got to be Chubbs. Pull your finger out your ass, Chubbs, please. You have to win a race now, Chubbs. Ten different winners in a season, I mean, that's nothing to scoff at. Every chance for it to become 11 still. But 2 new race winners tonight. Can it be 3? That is a good question. Can we get a 3rd new race winner tonight? 2 people in the top 2 qualify for that 3rd new race winner, Joe Whedon and Sophie. And there's no one else really there except for Captain Chubbs in 7th. If I were to put my money on anyone, it wouldn't be any of those lot, I'll be honest. It wouldn't be any of those lot. I really, really think that Luke Clark could be going for a second win tonight. It's not unheard of. We are just changing the settings again for some reason. I'd imagine that probably the rolling start wasn't set properly. But yeah, I mean, come on, Chubbs. Put your finger out your ass, man. You know, we need an 11th race winner, and I feel like if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be him. And I don't see that 11th different race winner coming tonight, unfortunately. That's just the way I see it. And I've seen it wrong in the past. Everyone knows, you know, I get it wrong quite a lot, actually. But this one, I'm really hoping I'm wrong on this one. Let's say that I'm really hoping I'm wrong. Because Chubbs needs to win a race. It just feels weird. Chubbs hasn't won a race yet. It feels very weird. What also felt weird is the guy that we're currently spectating hadn't won a race, but he has won one now, is Luke Clark. And that was a great win from him, might I add. Looked like he genuinely had some stellar pace in that first race. And he'll be on the soft tyres for this round as well, or this race, so perfect opportunity, perfect position to maybe make it a double. But I mean, we said before this round, or we said before this race, shall I say, all three of the races, that McLaren had the strongest car around here. McLaren since then have doubled their win tally. You know, they've gone from 2 wins to 4, and they've now got 3 different race winners instead of just the one in Ruben Thorejao. So Ruben's finally got company, you know, in that race winner's circle for McLaren. I'm sure someone will be able to do some statistics for me, telling me how many winners from each different car. What, there 3 from McLaren, 3 from Nissan, 2 from Honda, and then the rest are from Toyota, I believe. I think those are statistics for different race winners in different cars, but here we are with the final race of the night. It is the rolling start reverse grid, and it is Joe Whedon who is leading out the grid, followed by Sophie, and then it's Jake Birkenhead, our former championship leader, who will be making a charge. What tyre is he on? He's on the soft tyre, so Jake Birkenhead, watch out for that man there. But here we are for the final race of the night. 5 red lights and we are away. Joe Whedon getting the great launch that you'd expect from that McLaren. And is that Birkenhead already looking to the inside? It is Birkenhead already going for the inside. But he was under pressure. I think he was going for the inside there because he was under pressure from Thorejao. And Thorejao, does he make that move around the outside? He does. Well done, Ruben Thorejao. What an overtake. Good job from the Spaniard. Good job from the Galician. And through he goes in his own special livery. A lot of special liveries tonight. We've been treated. A lot of special liveries tonight. But already, is there a gap being created? We've seen this in every single race, but no, the gap is not being made up front by the McLaren at the start of the race. We've seen this in every race but this one. So Joe Whedon has got to make... Oh my God. Joe Whedon's going to try and make that gap. And I'm sure he's not going to be hanging about. Someone who isn't going to be hanging about is Ruben Thorejao, though. He's already making his charge up the field. Team McLaren, take a bow. What the hell has happened this week? You know, great stuff from all 4 of the McLaren drivers tonight. And Ruben makes the move. Sophie goes back for it. And Sophie does it well, but Ruben with the switchback on the exit, and there's nothing really Sophie can do to fight against that one, I'm afraid. Luke Clark is up to 4th now. And, I mean, this is McLaren versus Honda. Not really much the Honda can do in this situation, and here comes Luke Clark. And down the inside Luke Clark goes. Oh, bit deep though, wasn't it? Don't you think? Bit deep. Still side by side between the two of them, still staying on the track. There's nothing illegal going on there. You've got McLaren 1-2-3 again. Just like last week, McLaren 1-2-3. Oh, contact there in the background. I believe that was Kabinski and Birkenhead. Oh, someone's gone round. I bet it's Chubbs. I bet it's Chubbs. It's Chubbs. Chubbs has gone round. Shall we have a look? Let's all laugh at Chubbs. Here we go. On board with Chubbs. What's he do? Yeah, there was contact there between Kabinski and Birkenhead. Do you reckon? No, he just spun. Well done, Chubbs. And there he is now in last place at Chubbs, man. Put yourself together. No, we've all been in those positions. We've all had those incidents, and it's just an unfortunate one. Same with Adam Hans in the last race. Here we are, the 3 McLarens out in the lead. Wow, these 3 are disappearing into. Oh shit, Reuben, don't do that. Reuben, why did you do that? God, that was really sketchy from Reuben. I'm not sure why he really did that there, but okay, Reuben is now back there, so it's Joe Whedon now out in the lead still. But Luke Clark, I mean, I said this before the race, I said Luke Clark has got this one in the bag. If anyone's going to do it, it's going to be him, and here goes Luke Clark down into turn 1, down the inside of Joe Whedon. So down the inside was Jake Birkenhead there, moved himself back up into the top 3. He is currently carrying Sophie along with him, or Sophie should I say, sorry, Kavinsky. Got the Hondas mixed up. Ooh, Kavinsky though, very on the edge of the circuit there. Thorejo was under pressure from Sophie, speaking of, and Sophie now has a look. Thorejo holds that position. Ooh, they shouldn't really be side by side through here, but they're going to try it. And Sophie just backs out of that one. Smart move there. Thorejo now finally concedes that position, so that is Sophie through into the top 5 once more. No surprise there. But I mean, Thorejo, this is where his car has the advantage, and no surprise here either, as look at him disappear off into the lead of this battle. Up front, Birkenhead and Kavinsky both battling. Kavinsky to the inside, Birkenhead on the outside. Kavinsky really ramming the inside. Oh, Birkenhead just got pinned there by Sophie. Birkenhead has stayed ahead. Just a story there of, I think, Sophie getting way too late on the brakes. Birkenhead, luckily, is still in that 5th place. Could have been a lot worse for him. Now Whedon still holding that P2, but he's under a lot of pressure from a lot of fast drivers behind him. The first and foremost of those is Dominic Kavinsky, who is not hanging about. I mean, you get the feeling that Whedon is not doing himself much of a service around here. He's not too quick in these corners, and now Kavinsky does go through. I think there might have been a tiny bit of contact there. Maybe Whedon outbrakes himself, but it looked fine from my perspective, to be honest. Oh, what doesn't look fine is that. Jesus Christ, Birkenhead. That is a brave move from Birkenhead, and Whedon's going right back on that one. That was interesting from Jake Birkenhead, but I mean, he's made it stick. We'll see if any reports come in about that one, because that was very interesting. But brave one. I think it's fair to say brave one. He had all 4 wheels on the track. He was fully alongside, so we'll see what the drivers think of that one. I think personally that was just a good move. I think that's very good from him. Thorejo now just having to sit behind these lot. And Witchell, bear in mind, he is on his medium tyres this race. I'd imagine so is Sutton's when I look at him. Yes, he is. So they're both on their medium tyres this race, so can't expect a huge amount from them. But I mean, Luke Clark, off into the distance he goes with a new fastest lap of the race, 26.2. One of the quickest we've seen all night. And Luke Clark, speaking of one of the quickest we've seen all night, he is one of the quickest drivers we've seen all night. What a night Luke Clark is having. What a night someone isn't having, though, is Ruben Thorejo. What happened there? Let's do my favourite party trick now. And go on board with him. Thorejo, oh, I feel like he might have outbraked himself into turn 1. Yeah, he did. Again, outbraked himself like he did not too long ago, and he's finding himself down the order into P9. So not dead last. He has got himself half-second penalty, but he's not dead last. So that's all you can really be happy for in that scenario. But Whedon now finds himself ahead of Witchell and Sophie. And again, all the drivers stuck behind Whedon. Doesn't really look like Whedon has the pace to keep up with the drivers behind him, and now is Witchell going to go for that move? I'll understand it if he does, understand it if he doesn't, but he is going for the move. And he does make it stick. It's quite cool seeing these cars at night time, I think it's fair to say. Is Whedon going to go for the counter move? No, I believe Whedon might actually be pushing him along, so fair enough. teamwork between these two, inter-team teamwork. Maybe these two have found a bond that I am unfamiliar about. I didn't know these two got along, but apparently they do. So through goes Witchell up into the top 4. So now Whedon is holding up everyone but Witchell. I got to give Joe some credit. He's doing his best at the moment. He's holding his own for the most part up in this top 5. So all credit where credit's due. Oh, Sutter's going for a move there down the inside. Not quite. Had a look. Oh, he is going for the move. He is going for the move. He had much more than a look there. Ooh, pushed Sophie right out to the track limits there, but I'd say that was clean. That was a good one from Sutters there, and very Will Sutters-esque overtake. Oh, but Sophie's fighting back. A very Sophie-esque overtake. Jesus. And now Adam Hans is getting involved in this. Sutters got a penalty there. I think having to avoid Sophie, he got a penalty by going off the track, so that's fair. You know, that's very fair. Well done, game. Here goes Adam. Oh, God. Adam's through. Sophie's round, and Sophie's out. Is Sutters going to wait for him? I don't believe he is. No, Sutters is not waiting for him. Sophie feels hard done by, or Sutters feels hard done by the driving against Sophie, and I feel like that is his statement enough, saying, I'm not waiting for you, bog off. Saw it out in the steward's office. Prat. Now I've got to fucking deal with that. Birkenhead, though, what a race he's driving. I mean, he needs a good race to really bring back his form, and this is really the good result that he could be looking at. You know, he really needs this. Bring back his confidence. I don't think the championship is on for him anymore, though. But as a benefit of that Sophie battling, the championship is very much on for the man in P4, Jake Witchell. This could be getting spicy as we go into the final 2 rounds. Jake Witchell is very much in the fight now. I've said stone's throw away. I said at the start of this, he's now within arm's reach. I wouldn't say he's touching distance quite yet, but he's definitely arm's reach. And I wouldn't say this is falling apart for Sutters, because Sutters is doing his all. He's doing what he's been doing all season. It's just Witchell has really found some form lately, and he's making the best of everything he possibly can. His new strategy seems to be working. 1 medium tyre tonight has very much helped him. Gap, I believe, is closing a bit up the front, by the way. Kaminsky to Luke Clark, but I feel like Luke's got this one in the bag. And what a second race winner of the night that would be for Luke. Very happy for him. There goes Kaminsky. Should probably watch someone who's actually fighting, shouldn't we? About Thorejo and Langstadler, with Will Sutters back there as well. Oof. Yikes. Okay, maybe this is falling apart a bit for Will, because that is not really the race he wants, and he could also be seeing himself with a penalty for that Sophie spin if things go wrong for him. So yikes indeed. Shall we talk about something positive? Yannick Takaba in the top 10. What a legend. Good job, Yannick Takaba. Very nice from him. Newcomer to the league, first round of the season that he has done. He's found himself in the top 10 in the last race of the night. What more can you ask for? Good stuff from the Dutchman. Second Dutchman on the track. Oh, second Dutchman in the league. It's not second, he's the first Dutchman on the track, because what has happened to Stijn van 't Hart? Adam now having to defend against Langstadler, but defence is futile against the McLarens on the straight. Saying that, though, he almost gets a good enough exit to fight back against Langstadler, but not enough in reality, and now Thorejo finds himself right behind Adam. And Thorejo does make it. I say Thorejo makes his way through. Hans is defending that well, and Hans is now round. I believe. There looked like there was a little bit of lag there between himself and Sutters. Sutters hasn't taken that move this time round. But Sutters definitely feels that one was his fault, so he hasn't taken the move this time round. Hans stays 8th. Back up. the top 4, and Witchell is all over the back of Jake Burke. This is not something I was expecting to see, the medium runner against the soft runner. Is Burke on the softs? He is. Yep, it's the battle of the two Jakes. Witchell on flying form all night. Serious pace from that guy tonight. And here he goes once again. Down the back straight. Witchell now marginally ahead, but Burke is going to be defending that one like his life depends on it. This is the fight for the final step on the podium, bear in mind. Close on the exit there. It looks like they've both got pretty equal exits there, and it's now all about who can get the drag race down to turn 1 right. It'll probably be Witchell in this scenario because he has the slipstream. There he goes to the inside, side by side, running down the start-finish straight. What a sight that is. Wheaton still finds himself in B5, by the way. Oh, what a switchback from Jake Birkenhead, but not quite. Almost switches round to the inside, feigns that outside line, but not quite. Witchell is the wiser to that, but good racing from these two. We know that Birkenhead is a fierce driver on track, and Witchell is a smart driver, so for these two to come together, it's always interesting, I think it's fair to say. Very interesting between the two of them. And this time round, Witchell on the medium tyres comes out first ahead of Birkenhead, but Birkenhead, I'm sure, will not be going anywhere. These two are going to be stuck together like glue for the rest of this race. And there goes Birkenhead on the inside of Witchell, but goes deep as Witchell gets another run on the inside on the exit. And again, side by side down the back straight. This one, Birkenhead will get another chance going into the braking at the final corner. Witchell is not letting him get the inside, should I say, sorry. Not letting him get the inside. So Birkenhead is forced to the outside and does make the move around the outside with the tyre advantage. Wow, what an overtake from Jake Birkenhead. That was great stuff. Obviously has the tyre advantage, but good overtake from the fellow Brit, from the other Northerner, should I say. Former championship leader. Both of the Jakes are fighting for this championship, and this is really the best chance they've got to gain back big points because Will Sutters is currently down in 8th. I really see Will maybe getting back up to the top 6, but that's it. This has not been the race that Will needs. Obviously taking over the championship from the last round into this one. This is his first time leading the championship in this season. There's every chance he might not be leading it next week after this result. Wait and see though. Let's not jinx it for him. Let's not jinx it for him. Everyone knows I'm the #1 Will Sutters hater. I'm all Jake Birkenhead. I want him to do well. I think we just caught Dominic Kavinsky getting himself a penalty there, that cheating bastard. Did he get away with it? No, he didn't. Look at that. Eagle eye, by the way. I know the track limits at every single track. I really do. I know all of the track limits everywhere. It's called being unemployed for a year and playing Gran Turismo. Not good times. Not good times whatsoever. Jake Birkenhead still stays ahead of his fellow Jake. And Sutters has made himself up into P7. And I said P6 realistically is the highest he can get. And that could be coming true this time round. But keep an eye on the post-race penalty decisions. I'm not going to be self-stewarding tonight. I'm taking reports for everyone. Just so it's on the record, I'm taking reports. I don't have the time to self-steward this. I probably do, but I just don't want to. But put simply, it's my mum's birthday this week, so got to celebrate that. So less time to do anything other than that. But Sutters now all over the back of Whedon. Sutters just has to wait for the right position. Oh god, no way Sutters thought that was the right place to go for the overtake. I think he was just sticking his nose in there for the sake of sticking his nose in there. You can't blame him for it. Whedon was aware. Oh, Thorejo with the surprise move down the inside and hits the wall. Thorejo hits the wall. Oh well, that was a really shocking move from Thorejo there, but didn't quite pull it off. Which, unfortunately, that would have been great. That would have been very good. We'll just go to the front. Luke Clark, for the second time tonight, for the second time this season, is your race winner. And we've had new race winners tonight only. 2 from Clark. And what a win that was. Textbook. I predicted it. Textbook. Dominic Kavinsky with the P2. Nothing more you could have asked from him. And then it's Birkenhead and Witchell. They need this. For their championship hopes, they both need this. Langstadler, P5, just about leads out Joe. And then it's Sutters, P7. Thorejo, 8th. Adam Hans 10th, and it's De Cooper in 10th. Sophie is 11th, and then Yannick Verpeten, the other Yannick, does finish P12 ahead of Cats and Chubbs and Steinman Hart, so not a bad result from him at all. 2 difficult drivers to keep behind you, those 2, I think it's fair to say, but Manta Hart rounds out the last position on the grid. There you go. 2-time race winner now this season, Luke Clark, and I've got to say, what an uptick of form from the McLaren drivers. That was good stuff from all of the McLaren drivers tonight, Joe Whedon included. You know, not really singing his praises enough, but in that race he did everything and above. So good stuff from McLaren. They really needed this for their constructors' hopes. You know, last place by quite a big margin. So for McLaren to get this kind of result, can't ask for more. Cannot ask for more whatsoever. So we're not going to do interviews tonight. My voice is going. I'm not sure if you can tell too much on stream, but a big thank you to everyone who did race tonight, everyone who watched the stream as well. We will see you at the same time next week. Well, hopefully I'm feeling a little bit better because I'm feeling a bit crap at the moment. But yeah, we'll see you all next week, same time as always, Wednesday night around this time. As always, I think like 7:45 is usually when we get going. So keep an eye out for that time on next Wednesday. Thanks, guys, and Championship's getting spicy.